The war in Ukraine has shocked the world, but the Western response is unlike anything we've seen before. Instead of building new factories or retooling entire economies, the West is sending a torrent of weapons and ammunition using a new model. This is rearmament without reindustrialization, a quiet revolution in military strategy. Western nations are tapping into deep stockpiles, leveraging global supply chains, and relying on private defense companies for speed and flexibility. The result, Ukraine stands strong against a larger aggressor not by sheer numbers but by smarter, more precise weaponry. A single guided missile now does the work of a massive artillery barrage. This shift means quality can often substitute for quantity, changing the very nature of warfare. The West's approach is faster, less disruptive, and fits our globalized, information-driven world. But it's not without risks. Stockpiles are finite, and global supply chains are vulnerable. The Ukraine conflict is testing this new model in real time. Can it be sustained in a long war? What happens when supplies run low or supply chains break? These are urgent questions for Western leaders. The lessons learned here will shape how nations prepare for future conflicts. The world is watching as the stakes rise for everyone involved. This is a 21st century solution to a 20th century problem. The West is rearming, but not as history taught us to expect. Instead, it's a blend of old stockpiles, new tech, and private innovation. The outcome in Ukraine will define the future of global security. The paradox: rearming without rebuilding the arsenal of democracy. The world's next wars may be decided by this new kind of war machine. To see how much things have changed, look back to World War II. Victory then was forged in the factories: Detroit, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles, where civilian industries became engines of war. Car plants built tanks, and the entire economy was mobilized for a single purpose. The arsenal of democracy overwhelmed enemies with sheer output. Hundreds of thousands of planes, tens of thousands of tanks. This model, mass industrialization, was the standard for decades. Winning meant outproducing the enemy, no matter the cost. It required massive government spending, central planning, and a total shift from consumer goods to war materials. Millions joined the workforce, and society was reshaped. But this approach was rigid, slow to start, and hugely disruptive. It took years to reach full production. Today, Western economies are globalized, specialized, and built on services and technology. Shutting down entire sectors to build tanks is now unthinkable, economically and politically. That's why the West's response to Ukraine is so different. Instead of total mobilization, it's about adapting to the realities of the 21st century economy. Military support now draws on existing resources, not massive new factories. The new playbook is about speed, flexibility, and leveraging what's already there. The world has changed, and so has the way we prepare for war. The lessons of the past inform the present, but the methods are entirely new. The West is writing a new chapter in military support, one that fits our era. Ukraine's first lifeline was Western stockpiles, Cold War arsenals built for a war that never came. When Russia invaded, these warehouses became a ready-made arsenal. Weapons like Javelin missiles and Stingers were shipped from reserves, giving Ukraine a crucial edge. Former Warsaw Pact countries sent Soviet-era tanks familiar to Ukrainian crews. This rapid transfer of older but effective equipment bought Ukraine time and numbers. But stockpiles are finite, and after years of intense fighting, inventories are running low. Ammunition, especially artillery shells, is being used at staggering rates. The West now faces the urgent task of replenishing these reserves. Relying on stockpiles was a quick fix, not a long-term solution. The challenge ahead: ramp up production before the cupboards are bare. The initial speed was vital, but sustainability is now the key question. Ukraine's fight has exposed both the strengths and limits of this approach. The next phase depends on rebuilding what's been given away. Modern rearmament is a global operation. A single weapon system might have parts from a dozen countries, guidance from one, engines from another, assembly in a third. This interconnected supply chain lets allies pool resources and expertise, creating more advanced weapons. Flexibility is a major advantage. If one supplier falters, another can step in. Europe and NATO coordinate to boost production, sharing burdens and strengths. But this system is only as strong as its weakest link. Disruptions, natural disasters, political crises, or trade disputes can ripple across the entire network. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed just how fragile these chains can be. Securing supply lines for raw materials and components is now a top security priority. The West must ensure access to critical resources like microchips and rare earths. The global supply chain is both a weapon and a vulnerability. Sustaining Ukraine means keeping this complex web intact. The future of defense depends on managing these global connections. Private defense giants like Lockheed Martin and BAE Systems are now central to the war effort. Unlike the state-run factories of the past, these companies innovate and compete for government contracts. Governments act as customers, tapping into private expertise and infrastructure. This has produced advanced systems, Javelins, HIMARS, Patriots, that give Ukraine a battlefield edge. The war has driven a surge in orders, boosting production and innovation. Private firms can ramp up faster than government-run industries, but their motives are profit-driven. This creates a powerful defense lobby and raises questions about oversight. Governments must balance innovation with public control to keep national security interests first. The partnership is essential, but it's a delicate dance. The future of rearmament depends on getting this balance right. The West's aid to Ukraine is about quality, not just quantity. Advanced, precision-guided weapons have changed the battlefield. One GPS-guided shell can destroy a key target, no need for mass barrages. Ukraine uses these tools to strike deep, disrupt supply lines, and exploit Russian weaknesses. Technology acts as a force multiplier, letting a smaller army inflict outsized damage. Intelligence and surveillance from the West give Ukraine a clear battlefield picture. This network of sensors and shooters is a new way of war, where information is as vital as firepower. But high-tech systems are expensive, complex, and require constant innovation. Russia adapts with countermeasures, fueling a technological arms race. The West must keep innovating to maintain its edge. Precision is powerful, but it's not a magic bullet. The future of warfare is smart, connected, and always evolving. The new rearmament model's biggest strength is speed. Drawing on stockpiles and private industry, the West delivered aid to Ukraine in days, not years. This agility was crucial in stopping Russia's initial advance. The approach is also flexible, adapting aid as the war evolves from anti-tank missiles to artillery to fighter jets. Tailoring support to battlefield needs keeps Ukraine in the fight. Economic disruption is minimal. Life in the West goes on, unlike in past total wars. Specialized defense sectors handle the burden, not entire societies. This sustains public support and allows for long-term commitment. The model also strengthens alliances. NATO unity is on display as countries share the load. The US provides high-tech systems, Europe supplies tanks and artillery. This collaborative approach turns the alliance itself into a strategic asset. The West's speed and flexibility have been game changers. The model's adaptability is its greatest weapon. This new model has clear limits. Stockpiles are running low after years of war. Western militaries now face their own shortages as they supply Ukraine. Can production ramp up fast enough to refill both Ukrainian and domestic needs? Global supply chains are efficient but fragile, vulnerable to disruption from adversaries or crises. Heavy reliance on private companies means production depends on market incentives, not just strategy. Bottlenecks and slow ramp-ups are real risks, as seen with artillery shell shortages. There's also a danger of complacency, assuming this model works for every conflict. Ukraine is unique. A direct NATO war could stretch this system to breaking. The West must address these vulnerabilities before the next crisis. The current approach is effective but not invincible. Ukraine is reshaping how the West thinks about war and readiness. The old model of mass mobilization is gone. In its place is a new paradigm: stockpiles, global supply, private innovation, and tech. This has allowed rapid, flexible support without upending economies, but the war has exposed shallow stockpiles and fragile supply chains. The scramble for artillery shells is a warning. Efficiency can't replace resilience. The lesson: maintain robust, ready defense industries and secure supply lines. Invest in smart stockpiles and strategic partnerships with industry. The future isn't about choosing old or new, it's about blending industrial depth with technological agility. Ukraine previews a future where wars are won by resilience, innovation, and alliances. The West's ability to rearm without reindustrializing has changed the game. Now it must learn from both success and failure to build a more durable defense model. The next generation's security depends on getting this right. The world is watching and preparing for what comes next.